And we're back with yet another exciting episode of Pitch In. Welcome to the show. If you're tuning in for the very first time, where have you been? We've been waiting for you, man. And if you're tuning in for yet another edition, thank you so much for the support. We truly appreciate it. My name is Nkox.
My name is Tyson.
And we're with you every episode. We try to drop every week as far as we can, but it's just the two of us doing everything. Just to give you a bit of context, all the editing, shooting, and everything, we do it ourselves. So we try to drop every week. So far, so good.
So far, so good. And today, we actually have quite a different approach to how we're going to do the episode. Guys, please remember to get onto all the socials. It takes quite a bit of effort to get onto all these socials. So please let us know that you really are enjoying the content by liking, commenting, and subscribing. We're on everywhere. I mean, right there. We're going to put it up.
So Spotify podcast, Apple podcast, YouTube, X,
name it,
IG, TikTok. You're definitely going to find us. Hashtag PitchInZA or just Pitch In Premier League podcast. You'll definitely find us there. And I think let's not waste any time and get straight onto it. I'm excited about today's episode.
For sure, me too. So today, what we're doing is we're just introducing you guys to who we are as football fans, and just to find out a little bit more, just a little bit of insights. And we're going to get obviously right to the foundation of it all. What team do you support?
And also, we're going to be having a lot more of these episodes because obviously it's off season. But that doesn't mean we can't have a bit of fun every now and again. Just so that you can also gain a bit more context on our preferences, how we got to where we are in terms of sports, particularly the Premier League. And today's episode is such, and I'm excited. So should we get straight into it?
Let's get straight into it. We're going to be covering a couple of things. And I actually have a bogey theme in here.
Okay.
From Cox that's not aware of, by the way. So today we are doing your team and why you got into it, right? So as we know, as football fans, it's really hard to be a fan of one team exclusively. You do always see things in other teams that kind of catch your attention, and you start to follow the team and actually end up being a little bit of a fan, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly acceptable, especially here in South Africa. We don't live in Europe. We don't live in, there is a little bit of a tribal argument when we come to South African teams.
Yes, 100%.
So, your team and why you support them. Premier League team, your second Premier League team, your local South African team, your other European team, so basically any other country or league outside of England, your international team, so that is a team that will qualify to play in the World Cup, so the national sides, and your two teams that you hate. Right? Two teams that you simply cannot stand, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be international, local, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a seventh subject from Cox, right?
Okay.
Who is the player that made you a football fan?
Ooh. Okay.
So that one player that you as a kid saw playing, and then you thought to yourself, damn.
Ooh. Okay.
This is my game.
Memories.
This is my game. Right, so let's get straight into it. The first subject, your Premier League team and why do you support them? You want to go first?
My boy. Izinja. Red Devils.
The Illuminati.
Esgase.
Yeah.
So, I'm a Man United fan. I got to support Man United because of one player, actually. And I think most of us undervalue his contribution in global recognition of the club.
Okay.
So I grew up in the 90s. There wasn't social media back then. We were limited in terms of coverage as Africans in general, never mind South Africa. Mm-hmm. So you only got glimpses of the Premier League in the early 90s.
Yes.
Right? And there's one player in particular that kept on popping up. And I'd see clips and I'd see even matches because of this guy. For me, that was David Beckham. David Beckham was a symbol of Man United for a South African kid like me, right? Then obviously Bend It Like Beckham was a thing.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in primary school, you know, everyone wanted to take the free kicks because of David Beckham. And obviously him doing it time and time again, you know, that was also quite interesting. So David Beckham actually won me over, I won't lie, as a Man United fan. Then I started following Man United. Then I started following the history. There was a period in my life, actually, where I was into watching classic matches. I don't know if you know, like, you know, there was a program that used to play, like, these classic matches.
Yeah, classic matches,
Yeah. So I used to follow a lot of Man United classic matches. Obviously, you hear about certain matches and you're like, oh, let me actually see what the fuss is about, you know. And I just, you know, I just fell deeper into the team. And then I started avidly following the team, actually, when I was in high school. That's when I took interest into say, okay, now I need to watch matches every week, you know, follow the players, who are the players, you know. But yeah, shout out to David Beckham. I think he definitely converted me, and that's how I got to support Man United.
And what year would you say that was?
I'd say maybe 98, 99.
1998.
98, 99, because I think I'm just trying to...
So the treble year.
Yeah, because... Yes, because I do remember the treble vividly. And the memories around that time specifically. So 98, 99, I would say was the year where I started actually actively wanting to watch, you know, Man United. And even just, you know, as a kid, you know, starting to say to your parents, yo, can I have a Man United t-shirt or something, you know? Yeah. So yeah, I'd say 98, 99. So my timing was impeccable, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
Yeah, go figure. Okay. But anyways, I have to say that, I can very much understand how you became a Man United fan in that era. You know, I honestly always say that any reason you have to support a team is the right reason.
Okay.
Like, you know, people say, no, you can't support a team if it's like this or like that. You can't be a Man City fan because
they're winning now.
Bro, that's how people become football fans.
And
when
also,
the team is winning.
I'm yet to find a person who's attracted to losing, so there's that too.
Well, now it's going to get into my story.
Okay.
Talking about attracted to losing.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it so much attracted to losing, but attracted to something other than winning.
Okay.
That attracted you to a club. So I became a Liverpool fan in 1997.
Okay.
Liverpool was not really winning much at the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, it hadn't been long since... It had been long, but not too long since we'd last won a major trophy like the ones we used to winning.
Yeah.
European trophies and league trophies. I didn't know anything about trophies and what they really, really meant. I was watching a lot of those classic games. I was watching a lot of Premier League. My brother actually was probably the biggest, even to this day, I think probably the biggest United fan
really
I've ever met.
Shout out to your brother, man.
Shout out to my brother.
Big bro. Away.
Shout out to him. He always had a dream. He was also a soccer player as well. He had a dream of playing for Man United, playing in the biggest leagues.
Yeah.
So he lived, ate, and breathed football, right?
Damn, okay.
Around that time. I think then he must have been around 15, 16.
Yeah.
Right? So you can imagine.
Yeah.
Right? In his hostel room, he had Man United posters from the floor, corners, to the ceiling, and on the ceiling.
Man, I can relate. That was the poster era.
Yeah, it was a poster era.
That was the poster era.
Center
of a magazine, you know. That's what you look forward to.
Newspaper cutouts, anything you can get, man. Any little piece of information you get. Bro, I know Man United players like, you know, Shaka Hislop, Dwight York.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Teddy Sheringham. I'm talking about I've seen these guys. I didn't even know who they were.
Okay.
But to his credit, he was also just a big football fan in general.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I started looking for other
Alternative. What's the
players,
alternative to
teams.
this? Yeah.
I'm a designer.
Yeah.
Or I'm a visual creative at heart. So then I started just trying to look for just differentiation. Like what else is there?
Yeah.
And I came across a guy by the name of Steve McManaman. Right? And man, Steve McManaman in that year, 1997, that season, bro, probably one of the best players in the world.
Never got to see him. I only got to see classic matches of him.
Yeah,
I also know him obviously as a pundit.
yeah,
He's quite shrewd, but I mean, seeing his game, I understand why he's so
Yeah.
cynical in his approach to punditry.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Steve McManaman, as you would know, literally the next year he left Liverpool and went to go join Real Madrid. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't really consider him a Liverpool legend simply because of that move.
Yeah.
Rings a bell? Trent Alexander-Arnold, Michael Owen,
Yeah.
Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
People who are
So
not,
the Liverpool-
people who aren't in the GOAT chats.
The
simply
Liverpool
because of the
Madrid
move.
connect
Runs
is
deep.
nothing new.
It's nothing new.
Yeah.
Liverpool and Madrid move is for the ages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I became a Liverpool fan. Steve McManaman, and that actually takes me to my second Premier League team.
But also, before you move on to your second Premier League team,
Okay.
interesting how players have such an ambassadorial role to teams that
Yes.
a player can actually convert you to actually following a team.
Yeah.
That's actually quite crazy. But
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, I digress.
No, definitely. I mean, I have to agree with you. I think a lot of the times, especially when you're a young kid, you kind of see yourself embodying the role.
100%.
Kind of like superheroes.
100%.
A kid wears the superhero that they like.
Yeah.
Because they want to be like that superhero. You kind of like, resonate with how and why and, and like the sort of like the love that they get from other people. My second Premier League team in the same story
Okay.
is actually Newcastle United.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My
So,
second.
wait, let me guess the era.
Yeah.
Alan Shearer?
Same era. It was actually around the same era. I mean, if you think about Newcastle United, Alan Shearer won the Premier League in 1995 with Bolton Wanderers.
By
Coached
the way, still the record holder till this day, most Premier League goals.
who?
Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer, yes.
Yeah,
Number
yeah,
one, most goals scored in the Premier League.
100%.
1995 Bolton Wanderers, Premier League winners.
Okay.
Coached by
I don't know.
Kenny Dalglish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Next year, moves to Newcastle United.
Oh, okay.
Right? Now, I'm still green. I'm still don't understand a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm still just a kid who is starting to get into, like, loving soccer and all of that kind of thing. The school I came from doesn't have soccer in high school. So there's not a big soccer culture at my school,
Okay.
right? But there's this big soccer culture in my household,
Yeah.
right? Which we'll get into when
Okay.
we move on to local team. Now, I'm starting to see this Alan Shearer guy banging in goals day in, day out.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear about football, my brother's going on about Manchester United, I'm just seeing Alan Shearer banging in goals. Bro, to the point where in primary school, around that time, it must have been 96 or even 97, I actually drew like a wax crayon portrait
Yeah.
of Alan Shearer during
Really?
a celebration.
Damn.
Right?
Okay.
That's how big of an Alan Shearer fan I really was. But there was just something about Steve McManaman.
The intangible.
There was just the intangible, the je ne sais quoi
Yeah.
of Steve McManaman. And
Yeah.
I was proven right because he's the one that went to join the biggest club in the world at the time and even today, Real Madrid.
So, would you say the Newcastle soft spot it emanates from Alan Shearer, obviously?
It
And then
emanates directly from Alan Shearer.
Did you carry it through? Do you still have that soft spot?
I definitely still have that soft spot. I mean, guy.
It must have been a painful one this season when they beat you guys in the final of the Carabao Cup.
Well, I mean, if both your teams are in the final, is it really that painful? It's not as
come
painful.
on.
I think
It's like-
I think the pain is more if your rival beats you, rather than a
Okay,
team that you also
fair,
support.
fair,
You know what I'm
fair,
saying?
fair.
I'm yet to meet someone who's a Liverpool and Manchester United fan.
Yeah, no. Water and fire, that one. Yeah, no,
literally,
no.
like you can't have one with
Well,
and the other.
my second team is, funny enough, Spurs. Tottenham Hotspurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
The year was?
Well, this is now in the 2000s. So, like, let's say like 2005, 2006, right? I was drawn to the team, funny enough, because of the coach. When did Harry Redknapp? It's that era, right? Yeah.
Wow.
I saw this big personality coach, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was like, who's this guy, you know? And I started taking note of Tottenham as a result, and I started actually liking, Tottenham. I just grew a liking to them for some odd reason. I mean, some of my favorite players from Tottenham, but this is like later on. I remember watching, for example, Modric at Tottenham.
Oof.
And a lot of people actually don't think back to Modric at Tottenham.
Bale.
Bale was unplayable.
Adebayo,
but Bale was unplayable at Tottenham.
Literally.
Like, he was literally. I sometimes think we underestimate that guy. That impact at Tottenham was crazy.
It's when you go to Madrid, man.
Yeah,
You lose your Premier League impact.
it does, eh? Yeah, it does.
It's like a deal with the devil.
Yeah, so I've always had a soft spot for Tottenham, and I guess, isn't it funny? Both our teams actually met in the final this season.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
so Man United, Tottenham, Europa.
So it's actually been a great year for sport for us, right? For football.
Well, not for me.
How do you feel about
I
it?
wouldn't say this year was a great year for us.
Well, okay, wait.
as Man
Okay,
United.
fine. So how do you feel about it? Because I mean, both
In fact, and Tottenham, for that matter.
your first and second team in the Premier League were right next to each other,
Yep.
16 and 17, and they were both in the final against each other. So do you then see that differently to me when I say, if your teams are both playing in the final, it's less of a blow than the rivals? Or do you think of it the other way around?
I understand your perspective, but I think from my perspective, it's more of like, because I have a soft spot for Spurs, like, I don't want my teams to lose. But now it's a bit of a tight situation because one has to lose because it's a final.
Yeah.
It's not like in the league where they play a draw and you're like,
So then who do you give the win to?
obviously United.
Obviously United, yeah.
United is the home. That's like, but it's like choosing like one of your kids, man.
Yeah.
It's like now you have to choose between who's your favorite kid type of situation. But like, obviously I'm more drawn to United because, like, I think to a certain degree, I kind of grew up with United.
Okay.
So I kind of evolved with United. So I'm from an era where United used to dominate, and I used to enjoy that. And it was second nature to us as a fan to always win. And then I also evolved into what we are now, where I evolved even with the process of evolution when things started going south and you could see the trajectory going down and you're like, damn. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it just kept on getting worse and worse and worse. And now I've evolved into this sort of United. So I think the emotions and the roller coaster ride I've had with United is somewhat different to a Spurs, because the Spurs is like, with them at least, like it's like a casual watch. When I watch Spurs, it's like I'm just trying to.
Like you're watching football.
Yeah, it's like
There's no heart.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take my mind off things. I'm just But with United, there's more emotion attached.
Yeah.
I'm banging the TV. I'm like, what's
Highly
going on?
biased. Not to say that I'm not, but I wanted to ask you just like a sort of like a bogey question.
Yeah.
I'm full of them today, by the way. Full of bogey questions. So, who are the team that you are rooting for now in the Premier League that is not Spurs or Manchester United?
Okay. I like that question, actually.
Yeah. Wait. Also, let's start this by guessing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna guess yours,
Yeah.
and then you can guess mine.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I think you're Nottingham Forest, though.
100%. 100%.
I think the next team, like if you're not watching any of the others, I can't see it being Newcastle for you. I can't see
No.
it being...
It has to be one of the newer guys. I like
Champions League winners.
I like new projects, man. Generally, as a human being, I'm attracted to new projects.
Yeah.
The prospects excite me.
Yeah.
So when I look at like a Newcastle, a Bournemouth, I'm excited, man, because like it really could be something really greater than what it is. However, I think sometimes we need to also understand the aspirations of the club owners, because the aspirations are different. And I think as fans, we lose that sometimes. For example, there are clubs that are in the business of selling players, and as fans, we don't want to acknowledge that.
Yeah, Spurs
You understand?
and Nottingham Forest. Actually, a lot of them.
Yeah. So they don't
Southampton.
have prospects of being great themselves or winning
Yeah, or not yet, at
titles, or
least.
they're just in the business of producing talent. Brighton is another one. Brighton is in the business of producing players,
Yeah.
and selling them. They
Arsenal? No, but no. No. Why are you laughing?
Arsenal fans were different.
Why is it so funny?
Because you're always picking on
I'm
Arsenal.
not picking
bro.
on them. What you talking about?
Bruh,
They've
you
had
always you're trolling right now.
I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling.
What are you saying?
In the era of Sex Fabregas and those guys,
Yeah.
Arsenal had the best academy. They were known for having the academy.
Okay.
And now in the
so would
Premier
you
League-
say in that era they were in the business of
Yes, they were
selling?
in the business of developing and selling players.
So you're saying they didn't have aspirations of...
No, those two things can live at the same time. By the way, you can be selling players and bringing up players to win trophies. I mean, Arsene Wenger was the guy.
Yeah, that's
Arsene
what-
Wenger's academy was the thing. That was the main thing.
Okay.
And he was winning Premier League trophies.
Okay.
He was winning FA Cups. He was doing the thing. I mean, don't they have the most FA Cups of any team? I think so.
Probably, yeah. Probably. Will stand to be corrected.
Yeah, but I wanted to say, actually, just to prove to you that I'm not trolling, Liverpool's that team now. Obviously, not in this transfer window.
Yeah, Arsenal has 14 FA Cups and Man United has 13. Good
But
job.
not in this transfer window. But obviously, because now we've just broken the Premier League record for the most expensive player ever. But in the Klopp era, literally, I mean, we literally even merged our academies, our
Yeah.
academy with our training facility.
Let's not
in terms of
digress.
development, yeah.
Can I guess your team?
Okay, guess my third team. Oh, the team that I'm pushing. Yeah,
Aston Villa?
got it right. That's the one. That's the one.
Why Villa though? What's your
So for me, Villa, classically, if you've been watching football for Premier League for a long time, Aston Villa was always number 4.
100%.
Aston Villa was
Always.
always. We always knew the word Aston Villa, like
100%.
that team Aston Villa. It was just like Aston Villa, We just know the name.
Yeah.
Before Bournemouth, maybe Leeds because of Lucas Radebe, but like, if there was a team that you know nothing about, but you know the name,
Yeah.
it was Aston Villa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, just because of that heritage, but come on now, Unai Emery came through. So 2 things happened for me. Unai Emery leaving Arsenal, unfairly so. I don't understand why they fired him. We spoke about this in the previous episode.
And went on to win
Went on
the
to
Europa.
win, came back, and then I was just like, okay, cool. This is something to watch.
Serial Europa winner, by the
Right.
way.
Then, the glue that holds the whole thing together. My boy Yuri.
Yeah.
Yuri Tillemans.
Tillemans.
Man, that's my guy. When he was at Leicester, he definitely impressed me, like football clans aside. Yuri is the guy that I'm watching. Every clans aside, Yuri is the guy that I'm watching. Every time Yuri plays, man, I love to watch Belgium.
So you
games.
followed him at Leicester?
I followed him at Leicester. I bought a jersey.
Because of Yuri Tillemans?
Because of Yuri, a Leicester jersey. And he moved to Aston Villa. So that Unai Emery-Yuri combination, I mean, they won... Oh, no, that was West Ham. They won the Conference League.
Yeah.
But Aston Villa, I mean, dude, that's the team I'm watching right now. They're in
Okay.
the Champions League, they're doing the most.
No, they are. I'll definitely agree with you. I also enjoy their football. I think they actually, technically, they're one of the best coached teams. in the league.
McGuinness,
No, they're out here.
Watkins,
Asensio.
Rashford.
Anyway,
Moving right along.
Your favorite nation? I'll start. Because I think mine are quite obvious, I think.
Okay.
As a 90s baby, you you couldn't ignore the impact of these two teams. Also, I mentioned both of them because I think that era they were the dominant sides, Brazil and Germany.
Yeah. So you have two.
Yeah, I have two.
Okay.
I have two nations that I've been following since as a kid. Brazil, R9, arguably one of the guys that made me fall in love with Brazil.
Yeah.
He was just unstoppable. He had R9 might not have been okay. We might have, to a certain degree, I do agree with the argument that we might have overrated R9 a bit, right? However, he just had this infectious energy about him. When they talk about aura,
Yeah.
R9 had
that
aura.
He
bro.
had that sort of like rebel energy.
Yeah,
I don't even know where it
yeah.
came from. Was it because he's Brazilian?
I don't know,
Was
but
it-
he just had this aura, man, that was quite infectious. Like, you just wanted to be like him. Like, he was destroying defenders. He made
Yeah.
it look easy at times.
Came through with a crazy haircut.
And this was at that time
Yeah.
also, so Brazil was like the team. Oh man, and then when that class that graduated, I think it was the 2002 World Cup class, with
One
the
of the best World Cups of all time.
Ronaldinhos.
Joga Bonita.
Oh my goodness, that class that
Yeah.
graduated there, then I just fell in love even more because those guys played with flair. They look like they're enjoying what they're doing.
Under Captain Cafu.
Oh my goodness, right? Your Roberto Carlos,
Yeah.
they just had so much flair, and also their squad depth was crazy,
Yeah.
right? So Germany made me fall in love with the tactics, right? They were the first nation where I wasn't really interested in individual players
Yeah.
in the team. I was more enjoying the football that they're playing as a unit. And that was quite interesting for me for the first time in a very long time. I mean, names I can think of were like your closer, who's a legend.
Yeah.
Did they beat his goal scoring record in the World Cup?
I have no idea.
I think he might still be the top goal scorer in the World Cup.
Okay. It's not Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, not the World Cup. Definitely not the World Cup. I know Klose was the leading goal scorer for a very long time.
Okay.
But yeah, Germany as a whole was the one team that I enjoyed, watching as a unit. And they had a philosophy. They had a style of play.
Yeah.
And they had one of the best progression as a squad
Yeah.
in terms of nations. And I think
that mechanical progression.
it worked, bro.
Yeah.
Where they graduated teams.
No names.
Bro,
Just football mechanics and tactics. So
exactly. Your Philip Lahms, they had like these very workhorse type
Yeah.
players that just fit the system.
Yeah.
that
Oliver
plays.
Kahn.
Your Oliver Kahn.
just to support your argument, in the World Cup, in the top 5,
Yeah.
the top, two are German. Miroslav Klose with 16 goals. Ronaldo, R9,
R9.
Yeah.
How many?
15 goals.
Damn, you missed it. Just one
And
or two.
then Gert Müller with 14. But then that's like when they still had East and West Germany.
Yeah.
And then Messi tied with Fontaine. I don't even know. The last he played in the 1958
For France.
once.
Once.
He played one World Cup tournament and he scored 13 goals.
Hectic.
Messi is also tied with him.
But isn't
after
that the
playing.
time where the offside rules didn't... Yeah, so I mean...
Yeah. There are many rules. There are many rules.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, that's just testament. That Klose record is crazy.
Yeah.
To score 16 goals in the World Cup is not an easy feat.
Look, man, I feel like Kylian Mbappe is definitely close. I mean, he's number 6.
How many goals?
He's
is he?
very young, and he's played 2 World Cups, and he scored 12.
Ooh, he might actually break.
I honestly think 2026.
Because you average a good striker averages 6
5.
goals, 5 or 6
Yeah.
goals.
Well, you only play 7 games. You know that.
Yeah.
7 games in the World Cup.
For sure. So if you're a good striker, you
you-
should average 5 or 6.
But then goals don't win tournaments. Defense does.
Yeah.
So as a striker, you're really depending on your team. You need to play as part of a really good team.
100%.
So that's the reason why a lot of other guys just don't make it. Like Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
Mo Salah. You get some incredible goal scorers who just didn't perform in the World Cup. But I think Kylian Mbappe with 12 goals, I know we're digressing, that's not the subject, but 12 goals at his age, going into this generation of football, 2026 is the World Cup.
Dude, he just has to score 5 goals.
All he has to do is score 5 goals, and he's the number one.
100%.
That is incredible to me.
100%.
That's very impressive.
That record is breakable.
Yeah. So just on that note, my international team.
Yeah.
I've bounced.
Okay.
A lot around international teams. I loved Brazil, loved Argentina. At one point, Mascherano and those guys were playing there.
Yeah. That Argentina team was nice.
Oh, man, that team was so good, man. Yeah. Hernan Crespo. I mean, it was just insane. I loved Brazil with...
was Higuain also part of that class?
Higuain.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. And then I also loved... Brazil when they still had Adriano.
Oh, yeah.
Cafu was my guy. I mean, like, he really, created, like, this sort of superstar right back.
Your Rivaldos.
You know what I mean? I really loved Germany. Oliver Kahn, like we mentioned. Philipp Lahm. You know what I'm saying? Miroslav Klose.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the guys that really brought superstardom.
True.
To Germany's team.
True.
Back to your point, like, it was always just been highly mechanical.
Yeah.
And you would love them just because of how,
well
pragmatic
oiled
they are.
They
you
are.
know what I mean? Netherlands. I mean, Edgar Davids.
Edgar Davids at the classes.
Kluivert.
Oh, man.
Bruh, those guys just like, they brought some sort of like a European, Brazilian flair. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. I mean, probably Johan Cruyff. And those guys, what's his name? Ian Robin. Come on.
Yep.
Like, these guys were just crazy. You know what I mean?
Dirk Kuyt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just wild. Oh, Dirk Kuyt, not really so much. More on the Liverpool side, but on the Netherlands.
You didn't like him on the international front.
I like Dirk Kuyt not as a footballer. I liked him as a person. I think Dirk Kuyt was a great guy.
If I'm Dirk Kuyt, I don't know if I take that as a compliment.
That's all you get.
So Netherlands was your team?
No, my actual team is France.
Oh, really?
France.
Which class?
Zizou.
98.
1998, Zinedine Zidane. And the crazy thing about it is that my dad was actually at the World Cup.
That year?
Yeah, just the energy that he gave me, he's like, I'm going to France. He was also very excited.
Yeah.
It was his first overseas trip to Europe. We were all glued to our screens in 1998.
Yeah,
I feel like digital technology was just getting better.
It was.
I feel like that was really the first tournament that we were able to like kind of catch almost every game.
If anything,
DSTV.
It might have been the first tournament World Cup I've watched live.
Actually,
yeah, where it's not like pre-recorded.
No, well, think about when was the one before?
Yeah.
1994.
Yeah.
We're not watching.
Obviously, obviously not.
We're not watching that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. I mean, those guys, Didier Deschamps when he was still playing.
Yeah.
And he's currently like the guy.
The guy
you know
now.
I mean?
Yeah.
So, for me, France, I feel like France is the quintessential high pace. I think that's what they bring, like their brand of football in global football is the pace.
Yeah.
Like France just brings pace, and they do also have dribbling. They do also have a lot of things, but I feel like French players beat you for pace. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Zizou is slightly different to them in that he's the control.
Yeah.
But I mean, have you seen how Zizou controls the game?
Yeah.
When he does a skill, bro, it's landing like 10 meters away from you. You know what I mean?
And I think his passing game is also underrated.
Yeah. I don't know. Is it underrated?
It is. No. I think people actually rate his dribbling more and his movements,
that is true,
but like you don't speak of Zizou and speak of his passing. Like KDB, for example.
Yeah, that is true.
You know what I'm saying? Like when people speak of great passes, they often forget him.
Yeah.
In that conversation.
I mean, the era of Patrick Vieira, you know what I'm talking about, like
your Makeleles.
The Thierry Henrys back in the day. I mean, Thierry Henry, in my mind, when I think about France, still feels like a youngster.
Yeah. Me too, actually.
Regard,
especially in that World Cup, the 2002.
Yeah.
He seemed very young. He seemed like a youngster. He seemed like he had a point to prove. You know.
He did, though. I mean, he speaks about it all the time now.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that he sort of vindicates our perspective as fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
The second team?
oh, no, I don't have a second team, eh.
So
There's just too many
I'll
teams.
take Netherlands as your second team.
Nah. I really wouldn't say that. I mean, Argentina right now for me is really, really good, man.
Right now, this current generation.
Yeah, I mean, even over the years, bro. Like, I wouldn't say Netherlands necessarily my straight up second team. Belgium, come on, they did very well. Italy,
Nah, I think Belgium now you're drawn to the Yuri Telemans.
no, not just Yuri. I mean, even before Yuri, there was still Axel Witsel and them. Yannick Carrasco,
Yeah, I get you, but
Lukaku. Those
Belgium
days.
has always struggled as a team.
No, they have always struggled, but so to me, they were like the ultimate European underdogs.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
like
yeah.
they kind of have like they have the infrastructure and everything. They just lack the population.
Okay.
But like in the little population that they do have, here comes this team with like players that are playing for some of the best teams in the world.
I get you.
Coming together, you know what I mean? So
get you.
I don't really have an international second team,
Okay.
to be very honest with you. Obviously, I'd then have to say it's Bafana or something like that.
Speaking of that, let's segue a bit. Bafana, your favorite generation?
Benny McCarthy,
Benny McCarthy,
1998.
1998. That's your favorite generation.
That's my favorite Bafana generation, yeah. Shoes Mashweu, Lucas Radebe, yeah.
I'll tell you one
Phil
thing.
Masinga, Neil Tovey, come on.
Yeah,
That's
the
that for
golden
me.
generation.
Brian Baloyi, that's my favorite. Southall.
No, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
I think the current Bafana squad is growing into being a favorite too. On the basis of, if you think about it, the current generation doesn't have stars at all.
Actually.
There's no superstar in that team.
Who's the Burnley guy?
No superstar. Lyle Foster,
Al Foster.
not a superstar.
Mm.
Percy Tau, not a superstar.
Yeah.
You know, there's no superstars. It's just a bunch of team pragmatists.
Yeah.
They're also following the earlier model you were talking about with Germany,
Yeah.
where there's a system, it works, and everyone follows the system to the T.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I'm starting to gather like a winning mentality, which hasn't been there for a very long time.
So they're
in the
more
Bafana
of a
squad.
team, is what you're saying.
100%, and I enjoy that
Yeah.
about them.
I actually agree with that.
Because I was watching them closely during the last AFCON, where they came second or third.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the fact that for the very first time in a very long time, the possibility of winning a match wasn't far-fetched. You know, it was like, no, we could win this. And we're playing
Yeah.
very good teams. And we're like,
Yeah.
nah, but we could win this. Even the mentality from them, like we can see the body language is that we can win.
I agree.
You know, so I think they are growing into favorites. And I think
Yeah.
what they do in the next World Cup, which I think we're going to qualify for, I mean, we're left with, we need to win one match or two, actually, to qualify for
Please
the World Cup.
don't start doing mathematics with Bafana.
Yeah, no, look, we've been doing very well in terms of the qualifiers. So
Yeah.
I do think that we could be a force to be reckoned with. And the nice thing about how it's set up right now is that there's an AFCON in Jan, and then we go into the World Cup
Yeah.
later on in that year, next year. So it's set up very perfectly because you have a major tournament just before the biggest tournament.
Okay.
So I think in terms of their progression and their mindset,
AFCON and World Cup in the same year is wild, though.
yeah.
That's just what African teams have to go through, eh?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they don't respect us on the calendar, but yeah, that's a story for another day.
Yeah, you know the Bafana thing where you were mentioning that, like, you know, there's no superstars.
Yeah.
I was actually getting a bit scared that you're going to start asking me some names. I don't know any Bafana player name.
Speaking
I
of
know
South
Lyle Foster,
Africa,
he plays Premier League, and I was like, that guy.
yeah, speaking of South
And-
Africa, let's segue into your favorite PSL teams. That's the South African League.
Yeah, I mean, are we talking about teams that are still playing in the Premiership?
It doesn't matter. I
does not
mean,
matter?
obviously you've watched PSL
Well,
at a certain point in your life.
I'll tell you the teams that the team that I really, really like right now, and I think it's no wonder why. It's because they're winning. It's Sundowns.
Of course.
I really, really dig Sundowns. Not just the way they play and the fact that they're winning, but just the energy around the team.
Okay.
I feel like Sundowns is the type of team that humbles you when you go
Okay.
play there. We all know that any kid in the township, all of our friends that have gone to go play for like big teams, they really want to play for Chiefs or Pirates.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Sundowns then came through. Obviously, they will say that these guys are going there for money. But if you do go to a club like Sundowns for money, you got to make sure that you're good.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you're disciplined.
100%.
You got to make sure that you're not the type of guy that's going to be out here in the streets. Jabupula ring it. Jabupula ring is a verb in football
Yeah.
that you really don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, Sundowns, I mean, I actually really like Patrice Motsepe as an owner, if you want to take it that deep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, ever since he really took the helm, it's just been just like
Look,
I mean, a fairy tale.
his investments has yielded results. I mean, I was looking at an article that said this financial year, Mamelodi Sundowns is going to make 400 million rands, and that's testament to, you know,
Yeah, the sheer
the
business
ROI,
acumen.
the return on the investment, because I mean they're playing in the CAF. And they made it to the final of CAF. Obviously, there's certain amounts that you get on the results of that. They're playing in the Club World Cup. Just competing in the Club World Cup, they're getting 100 million rand upfront for
Wow.
competing. And obviously, it's going to get more the more they progress.
Man, they could win $1 billion. Is it €1 billion?
Yeah, imagine that. All right, so that changes the landscape completely.
I feel like if Kylian Mbappe met Sundowns in the Club World Cup final, he would be frothing at the mouth. He will not allow.
But yeah, so you like Sundowns?
Yeah, I do like Sundowns, but my actual team, obviously, I got it tattooed, man. That's the only. I'm a big Liverpool fan, but I would not get Liverpool tattooed.
Okay.
I've got lots of tattoos.
Yeah.
And I do have a Bloemfontein Celtic tattoo.
Of course. Context and history for the viewer.
So in context, my grandfather founded the club, Rantlai Petrus Molemela, Whitehead, aka Ntate Molemela, and it's just in my blood.
Okay.
I would say the club is in my blood. It's in the blood of the city. It's the air that I breathed since I was born.
Okay.
And it just really is football to me. And when I think of football, I think of Bloem Celtics first, and then Liverpool.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. So for me, it's really a no-brainer. I'm also looking at you sideways right now.
Yeah, of course you are.
And
Look, for me, my favorite South African team is Kaizer Chiefs.
oh, God.
And right now it's quite turbulent there. It's very similar to Man United.
Oh,
But we are turning the tide.
look at God.
This guy. So that's definitely my team. I mean, growing up, it's the one team I was drawn to. It was the flair that they were playing with, the players that they had. They had characters. Kaizer Chiefs is the one South African team that had characters, like superstars. Like these guys thought they're superstars. Like your John Shoes Mushweu, Skarango Bese. You know, when you Google those players, these guys are the guys that really had a certain level of aura and flair. Right, and I've always been drawn to that. So Kaizer Chiefs is my team, and the second team I think was by default.
Oh, Wethabang Lebese.
Wethabang Lebese, yes, your tiki Thabo Mooki. Yeah.
Okay.
So
second team
I think was by default. I kinda fell victim to my territory where I grew up. You know, so if in South Africa, if you grew up in the Free State, let alone any part of the Free State, which is a province, you definitely had to support Bloemfontein Celtic. Arguably the most infectiously exciting group of fans in South African football history. Google them if you've never seen Bloemfontein Celtic. These guys sing from the first whistle up until the last whistle. The stadium is buzzing, is shaking. In fact, I've heard in interviews superstar players from your Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates speaking of, they've had dreams of playing for Bloem Celtic just for
Yeah.
those fans.
Yeah.
Just to say, I would love to play in a stadium where those fans are rooting for me, and I understand it because just being in the stadium. So where I grew up, our house was literally the street of
Yes.
Cesarama Bodu back then. Now
Yeah.
it was named after your grandfather,
Yeah.
the stadium that is. I lived literally the street behind the stadium.
Wow.
So we literally could feel, if I didn't go to the game, I could feel it
Yeah.
just from my living room. That's how infectious the energy was. So Bloem Celtic, I think by default, I had to love, whether I liked it or not, I had to, I was just drawn to it. I was just drawn to, after the games, the streets would be a mess, especially if after it's worn. I remember the 2007, it was the 2007 when we won the Super 8.
2000. That was 2005.
So 2005.
I remember very clearly because the year my sister was born, 1985, was when we won the Mainstay Cup,
Yeah.
and then we won it in 2005.
Yeah.
She was 20, so,
So
20
that
years
year,
later.
I still remember the mayhem in our street
Yeah.
after we won that. So
Yeah.
it's stuff like that, that just resonate with you as a kid. You grow up with it. It's a
Yeah.
memory. It gets engraved in your head. And I think you do grow a sense of sentimental attachment
Yeah.
to the club. So Bloem Celtic is definitely my favorite.
Well, I'll tell you this much, man. Like I had like a very weird sort of relationship with just football and Bloemfontein Celtics as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel the difference between not being a fan and being a fan.
Oh, really?
In my mind, I felt like everyone is a Bloemfontein Celtics fan.
Really?
You could imagine that from my perspective.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like going to the game was like a regular occurrence in my family.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course, I would imagine.
The team just itself on a daily, like getting picked up from school after school.
Yeah.
With my dad going to go do some Blue Celtics business.
Yeah.
And whatever. So it was just like, bruh, I used to actually get like a bit upset if I had to like wear Bloemfontein Celtic stuff because it was like the free stuff
Oh, yeah.
in the family. Man, I wish I had done what my cousins had done back in the day, bro.
Yeah.
My cousins were just full bags, just full
So
of
they
kids
probably
and
have like some souvenir stuff right now.
them and their friends.
Oh,
you know what I
man.
mean? So all the stuff, like how
All those classic kits.
teams cycle through a lot of kit and equipment memorabilia.
Man,
quite quickly.
there was a kit,
Yeah.
you can Google it. We used to nickname it the
Channel
Channel
O.
O. Oh my goodness, man, I still want that shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Channel O Bloem Celtic kit. That
Yeah.
was the one.
Yeah, I've probably seen and worn like dozens
Of course.
of just that one kit. You know what I mean?
Course. But anyway, I think we're
Yeah.
spending too much time on South African football.
Football jerseys.
Yeah.
You actually heard me speak about the fact that I own a Leicester Yuri Tillemans
Yes,
jersey.
yes,
And I
yes.
actually bought 2 seasons ago the Castor Newcastle, the green Newcastle
Yes,
jersey.
100%.
And I put Cisse on the back,
Yeah, okay.
right?
Yeah.
Remember when Cisse and
I
Baba
remember,
played together?
I remember.
Number 9, Cisse.
Yeah.
That was an incredible season. What is your philosophy around which football jerseys a fan is allowed to wear in relation to the team they support and the rivals?
So I think there's certain jerseys that are just scrumptious, man. Like, yeah, you get, oh man, I wish my team had this sort of design, right?
Bloody Arsenal.
That just looks good, and you're like, oh man, this is Arsenal. Actually, has been spazzing the past couple of seasons.
Adidas and Arsenal, man.
Yeah,
Match made in
right.
heaven.
And then I think you can buy other jerseys and wear them. However, I think there's certain teams you can't, be found slipping wearing certain teams, and i.e.,
Can you wear an Everton jersey?
yeah, why not?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's certain teams I would
But
never.
you can't wear a Man City jersey.
Yeah, I would never. Man City, Liverpool,
Arsenal?
no. Even Arsenal is up there. I just think because of our history. Because remember, I also, at the peak of the Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger beef, I watched that, and I was siding with Sir Alex, obviously. So I still have a certain feelings towards Arsenal as a result of that beef.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would never wear an Arsenal cap for that matter. Yeah. Liverpool is worse. Like I can never wear anything.
Yeah, you
Liverpool.
can't even walk into a New Balance store anymore. Or a Reebok store. Just because of Liverpool.
Yeah.
So for me, I agree with that. I think that's exactly my sentiment around soccer jerseys. So for me, I think if you're going to buy a jersey for a player,
Yeah.
you know, like to say like this guy played in this jersey. So,
Yeah.
like my Cisse one, Cisse didn't play in Castor. He was just in the old Newcastle days. He didn't play 2 seasons ago. But I just put the player on the back of the jersey that I liked because I like the team and I like the player.
Yeah.
So I just put them together.
Gotcha.
You know, so for me, it's just about that. It's just about showing your appreciation for a player or a team or an era.
Yeah.
But there are certain teams that you just cannot wear their jerseys.
And it makes sense. I mean, even players. Actually, the same applies to players too. Like, I could never have a Steven Gerrard name on any T-shirt.
What do you have against Steven Gerrard? Was it a
I
Liverpool
hate
connection?
it. And let's segue into our next topic, which is players or clubs that you hated. I hated. I still hate Liverpool until this day. It's my number one hate watch. Steven Gerrard made me hate Liverpool, actually.
Okay.
And it's just how good this guy was, right? I was such a hater of that guy, Brad. And the crazy part is that Steven Gerrard actually doesn't get credit for this. Steven Gerrard played in arguably the worst generation Liverpool teams. Like, if we're to gauge generations of Liverpool, there was that era where, like, there was such a terrible era.
John Joe Shelby.
Yeah,
Ragnar Klavan.
You know,
Jay Spearing.
there was a point you guys even had Benteke as a striker.
Christian Benteke.
Right.
What are you talking about? Balotelli
Oh, man.
was our biggest signing right up until we signed Van Dijk. Up until Van Dijk, our biggest signing at Liverpool
Was
was
Balotelli.
Mario Balotelli.
Imagine
and
that.
I want someone to fight me on that fact.
So, Steven Gerrard played in that era, bro, and he was just unplayable. This guy could single-handedly dominate the game,
100%.
right? And bully our players. This is the one guy that could bully a Scholes, Carrick, Keane, like they know it. Like,
Gattuso,
you know, like,
Pirlo,
you know,
Maldini, Shevchenko.
bruh,
bullying
Vieira,
the world.
you know. So Steven Gerrard for me made me hate Liverpool, man. Like, I used to despise, and he had a neck for scoring against United, man, at the crucial games, right?
Yeah.
So another one that I hated, oh man, when he played for Liverpool, it was even worse.
Yeah.
Suarez, I hate that guy with a passion. Suarez, it even made it worse during the 2010 Soccer World Cup.
Yeah.
We were all as Africans rooting for Ghana,
Yeah.
against Uruguay in the
Ghana
semi-final.
story, yeah.
And this guy, you know, is literally the reason why Ghana didn't make it to the final. That would have been the first South African team, in fact, African team in the history of the World Cup to make it to the finals.
Segue.
Yeah.
Do you think Luis Suarez is a villain for that?
He's a hero in his country.
Okay.
It's a matter of perspective.
All
He's
right.
definitely a hero. I understand the perspective of him being a hero. In fact,
Okay.
they should build a statue for him.
Okay.
He's definitely
All right,
a
cool.
hero.
So
in
we
Yoruba.
don't have to discuss it. Please
No,
jump
no,
in
no,
the
no.
comments.
But yeah, those
if you
are
disagree with Nkox, but I definitely agree with that. I think Luis Suarez is a hero to his people.
yeah,
He put himself aside.
yeah,
And he
100%.
decided, I don't care if you hate me.
100%.
We're going through.
100%. So those two players are the reason why I hate Liverpool so much.
Yeah.
And in terms of other teams that I hate, I don't really... The level of hate is not up to the level of Liverpool.
Okay.
But I do hate Arsenal. Like,
Yeah.
they kind of annoy me every now and again.
Yeah.
You know, they have these things where they think, you know...
They're gonna win trophies.
Yeah, and they like comparing themselves to great situations,
Yeah,
and you're
you're
like,
baiting me
bruh,
now.
you guys
You're
are not
baiting
even close to, like, they'll always compare themselves. When Man United was in the treble, you're like, bro, please look at your squad and look at the 99, 98 United squad, like,
Yeah.
incomparable. So
Day and night.
they have these things where they just have these delusional comparisons.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, so in any case,
2025.
yeah. 2025 Arsenal is annoying.
Yeah.
But those are the two teams that I hate. Which teams do you hate and why? And maybe throw in a player or two there.
I'll tell you one team that I actually hate is AC Milan.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was 18 years old around the time when we first really, well, by luck, made it to the Champions League final.
Final, yeah.
And, man, at that time, I'm actually just going to Google it right now.
Yeah.
Because there's just an incredibly long list of players
Okay.
that came out of that, AC Milan team, right? Now listen to this. Pirlo, Kaká, Inzaghi, Gattuso, Yapstam, Nesta.
Nah, you don't even need to go
Maldini,
any further.
Goalkeeper Dida. David Beckham played for...
Goodness.
David Beckham played for AC Milan.
Was he part of that squad?
No, he was not part of the squad, but it was.
Yeah, I remember
in the era.
from Real Madrid, he went to AC Milan.
Shevchenko.
Oh man,
Bro, like, I mean, it sounds like I'm mentioning all the greatest players to
Literally.
ever play for this team.
Football. Not even
But-
this team, bro.
Yeah. Dog, Ruud Gullit, Seedorf.
Ah, Clarence Seedorf. My goodness.
You know what I'm saying? So, Ancelotti,
Yeah, I forgot about Ancelotti actually. The Don.
Frank Rijkaard. We're talking about great managers that
Yeah.
came out of this team. I mean, I've already mentioned a few already, actually. So for me, why I didn't like AC Milan is just because they represented, kind of like the dark side of football, where it's like they're just going to take the greatest player and then just like synthesize his abilities and then just go and win everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for us as Liverpool to then make it to the Champions League final with a young Steven Gerrard as a captain.
Yeah.
Steven Gerrard was very, very young. I mean, there's actually a new video where Sami Hyypiä, who was the captain of Liverpool at the time,
Yeah.
as a centre-back, speaks about how the relationship and the situation happened around him handing over captaincy to a young Steven Gerrard at the time. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Steven Gerrard is only 45 years old, by the way. So in 2005, he was 25. You know
Hard
what I'm
to
saying?
believe.
So, yeah. So at 25 years old, to get the captain's armband, lose 3-0 to the greatest team in world football at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard the names that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And to come out of the gate and score, the miracle of Istanbul, we all know the rest is history.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 seasons later, people don't know. Obviously, the next year was Barcelona, Manchester United.
Yeah.
And then the next year, 2007, was Liverpool AC Milan again in the final in the Champions League. And then they actually beat us in that one. So for me, I would have loved for us to win 2 in
Against
3
them.
years against them.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I'm not really...
Which players you sort of despise and why?
I don't despise any of the players. Okay, but player-wise, players I really don't like. Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo, Manchester United, man. I feel like he was right at the tail end of the Sir Alex Ferguson era.
Yeah.
Sort of like when he was kind of like cooling off.
Yeah.
Not cool, but
Yeah.
cooling off for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's how hot he was.
Yeah.
That his Cristiano Ronaldo era was him cooling off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, man, Alex Ferguson is a guy that I never liked. I never liked Alex Ferguson. He was just too good.
Yeah.
Alex Ferguson would put on some random guys. Like, he'd bring on some twins. You had to think about twins.
Yeah.
Why is he? I didn't like the twin thing.
Yeah.
Why does he need twins? He's got like this whole thing about him. Like,
So Alex
So
made
Alex Ferguson's
players
got-
that was bang average. They
Made
just
them-
look good.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like the adjective is Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yeah.
So Jurgen Klopp, Sir Alex Ferguson did.
I
He
see.
pulled a Fergie. We're
I
like,
see.
bro, like, who the hell are these guys? Nicky Butt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
John
and,
O'Shea. Like,
And one of the things that makes me really hate Sir Alex Ferguson is that he bred these backwater scum
Yeah.
players that today in 2025
Yeah.
feel like they can be pundits with a good opinion about football.
Yeah, because they've won everything.
Man, Manchester United, ex-Man United, Sir Alex Ferguson players
Yeah.
are literally the worst pundits.
Especially class of 92.
Roy Keane, terrible pundit.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes, horrible pundit.
Gary Neville.
Neville, I'll give Gary just because he's entertaining. But
Yeah.
opinion-wise, bro, like, shut up.
How's Rio as a pundit?
Rio Ferdinand is the only one
Yeah.
I respect.
He's pretty cool.
He's the only one I respect. Yeah, so for me, it had to be obviously Cristiano Ronaldo for me. Like I said, I was a huge Messi fan.
Yeah.
Massive Ronaldinho fan.
Okay.
So obviously when Ronaldinho handed over the baton to Messi, I just went with Messi.
Yeah.
And that rivalry, for me, Messi's just the GOAT. So, I mean...
Okay.
Yeah, I have to... I would honestly not say I hate Ronaldo, but it's just his connection to Manchester United.
Got you.
That I would say like I kind of like hate watch.
Got you.
So obviously then Liverpool Madrid relationship.
Makes
I kind of
sense.
hate watch Ronaldo because I'm like, oh man, this guy is just incredible, you know.
Now,
But yeah,
let's get into, to close it off, your question around which player made you fall in love with the game. Mine is easy, man. 90s, used to watch a lot of international football.
yeah.
And Ronaldo, man, R9.
Oof.
That guy made me fall in love with the game, man. He was just unplayable, unstoppable, had so much flair as a striker, which was unheard of.
Yeah.
Because he was also big, right?
Yeah.
For you to be that skillful. I mean, the first time I saw a samba was Ronaldo,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Someone crossing over a ball,
Mm.
So Ronaldo R9 was that guy that made me fall in love with the game. And I was like, okay, I love this. And notable mentions, guys who just made it look easy. Ronaldinho. I think Ronaldinho is
Yeah.
generational.
Absolutely.
We might never ever see a player like Ronaldinho for a very long time.
I don't think we ever have since
Yeah, like
before
it's-
and since.
Yeah, I mean, to see a player who plays like they're just playing a five-a-side in a like
Champions
a very
League final.
serious match. Yeah. This guy is just so, he seemed very stressless. Like he wasn't thinking about the game. He wasn't
Yeah.
as stressed as everyone else.
Not at all.
He's just playing his game, that level of flair was unheard of, and I think it's one of those players that made you fall in love with the game. Even the types of goals he scored.
Yeah.
When you see like a Ronaldinho compilation of goals, bro, it's like, it's crazy. It's like
Yeah.
this guy did that at the highest level, So R9 definitely made me fall in love with the game, but Ronaldinho, I think, took it another level.
So for me, I mean, like I mentioned, my brother was a huge Manchester United fan. I mean,
Yeah.
For as long as I can remember. And I think the thing about football really is the spectacle.
Yeah.
So when I was just that young, watching Eric Cantona. Yeah, man. You know
the
the Eric
GOAT.
Cantona, the popping the collar,
popping off the
grand
collar,
celebrations.
the grand celebration.
Like I think other players were kind of like celebrating, doing like somersaults and like knee slides
Yeah.
and cool gestures or whatever. But the Eric Cantona just like made it feel like
Yeah.
he kind of made football bigger than it was. I feel like he really took Manchester United to the world, if
He
I can
did.
put it that way. So for me, as a young boy,
And I think
just watching-
Eric Cantona also came in. He might have ushered in the generation of ego
yes,
in the game.
100%.
So players like your Ibrahimovic, your Cristiano Ronaldos, I think your Balotelli,
David Beckham.
They
himself
they
as well.
sort of from that cloth, where it was, football was such a humble game. You needed to be humble,
Yes.
right? But like Cantona was like, nah.
Yeah.
He had that arrogance about
Yeah.
him, but he backed it up on the pitch too.
100%.
So I get you.
Yeah,
I
so
get
for
you.
me, Eric Cantona was definitely my guy.
Okay. And on that note,
Ironically speaking, as a Manchester United fan.
you can hit us up and let us know who your favorites are in terms of people who made you fall in love with the game. Also, please share your teams. We'd also like to see in the comment section as to who you support and why you supported them. Do hit us up in the comment section. I'm really looking forward to it. We do read the comments, by the way.
Yeah, we read the comments.
Yeah.
We don't have much right now, so please populate. Let's have a discourse inside the comment section. So how it goes is your Premier League team, your second Premier League team, your national team, your local team, your other European team,
jerseys.
how you feel about wearing and buying soccer jerseys, the 2 teams or players that you hate, or football personalities that you hate, and the player that made you love the beautiful game of football.
Aware, man. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another amazing episode of Pitch In. Let's pitch in again on the upcoming episode. If you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you tell your friends to also subscribe to our channel. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Hit us up, #PitchinZA, #Pitchin Premier League Podcast, and we'll check you on the next episode. Away.
Peace.